Hey everyone, in case you missed our announcement, yes, we decided to start doing voice commentary videos for our channel. They are less work than our usual format, which will allow us to cover more topics. We will still put up some videos in our older format, such as a top 5 of each set. As for introductions, this channel is run by two people, Cipher, which is me, and Foodies. If you'd like to interact with us more, feel free to join the Cipher Discord. Now let's begin our first voice commentary video with an analysis on an Ephraim deck. Ephraim is one of the stronger MCs right now, and he's not too affected by the upcoming rotation. He's a mid-range MC, meaning he's the strongest during mid-game and wants to end the game at that point as well. There are many ways to build him, since the skill simply enables purple deploys, and buffing himself on attack with a field. Let's go over what we have here. Let's start with his cost 1. His cost 1, well, let's just say his alternative is a cost 1 with only support skills and nothing else. Although plus 10 buffs are usually really good for cost 1s, it becomes inefficient when you have to flip for it, though there are still some situations when you'll want to. This build runs 9 MC copies, including the starting cost 1. This is the ideal number in our opinion, but adding one more Ephraim could help in some cases. You really don't want to be adding too many of himself though, since a handful of himself isn't ideal when his skill revolves around deploying other units. If you do decide to run more Ephraims, I suggest running more cost 1s for their support skills. Ephraim's bridge is a staple, and you can win games without even promoting into the 4-3 at times. It turns out if you give a turn 2 promotion to base 70 stat line in some way, you can stay on it the whole game. On top of that, it has a self-heal and a support skill. Quite the special treatment. The next card is Zephyr, a card that has defined purple and the meta as a whole. As where normally you would require Bonding Cell to get Zephyr out on the field earlier, Ephraim can always get Zephyr out on turn 4 with his deploy reduction skill. And what makes Zephyr such an amazing card? Well, the ability to randomly discard cards disrupts the opponent, and if you discard a copy of their MC at 0 orbs, you win the game. This forces the opponent to begin evading earlier, which can actually help some of your support skills trigger more often, which we will cover a little later. Evading early also limits their options, since they're not taking orbs and adding cards to their hand. So it can make playing against Zephyr a bit oppressive sometimes, as it feels you're going to lose whether you evade early or not. Lastly, he has a buff skill you can use on your allies. You can use it to reach high numbers such as 100 base power, or you can just use him on weaker units to hit for 70s or 80s. It's quite a flexible buff skill. But enough of Zephyr, let's move on to some other units. You may have noticed that this build runs 4 Myrrh, but no Fae, which can be considered not standard. However, Ephraim isn't as reliant on Bonding Cell as other purple MCs are, so he opted out to cover more situations. Myrrh is better than Fae since she gets to base 60 at 3 bonds rather than 4. The fire weakness is not too relevant, and she doesn't have a Dragonstone affinity when in the deck, so she avoids triggering Roy's skill if you happen to play in that matchup. Very specific, I agree, but still nice to know. You can still run Fae if you want to increase the chance to bond multiple times per game. Just keep in mind that Ephraim does not require too many bonds to be played optimally, compared to an MC like Zephyr that wants to be bonding consistently. And let's move on to Eliwood. Eliwood is another staple in purple that helps Ephraim survive due to his plus defensive buff, while also controlling field with his movement skills. The plus 10 also allows your mana keys and other base 60 units to reach 70 base power on offense. In fact, this card is so impactful on the field that sometimes it's good just to put him in the back line so it's harder for the opponent to remove him. It can be quite obnoxious to deal with from personal experience. Now for Erica 1. This card is mostly here for her defensive support skill, or in other words the sister emblem, which can occasionally save Ephraim from being hit, acting as a 40 support. On offense, this card has another support skill that applies to any unit attacking the opposing MC, not just Ephraim. If the opposing MC takes a hit while this card is being supported, you get a free draw. That goes nicely along with the other support skills that we will soon cover. Alright, Erica 5. Although there are plenty of other Ericas you can run in Ephraim, these two are the most useful to him, covering more situations. Surprisingly, Ephraim does not want too much of his sister in his deck. Something to emphasize with this Erica is that she is a tech against late game decks, for the sole reason that she is difficult to remove, which will allow Ephraim to apply additional pressure to the opponent with an extra unit on the field every turn. She can also pull any unit on the backline, including the opposing MC. She's a good alternative to Eliwood if you happen to be at high orbs, but in most cases you'd want to play Eliwood instead for the plus 10 buff. Alright, now for the mages. Kanas is the free advantage part of this Ephraim build. He can stack Dark Emblems or Lilina, and is a range base 80, which is very handy. As mentioned earlier, discards are good for disrupting the opponent's hand, and Kanas has the potential to stack 2 Dark Emblems under the right conditions. Lilina is mostly included for her support skill. You don't have to stack her with Kanas all the time, she can trigger naturally too. Similar to Erica, she has the potential to give you a free +1. Except it triggers on any unit instead of the opposing MC only, increasing the chances of this card triggering. In response, your opponent will always want to avoid this card to prevent you from drawing for free, limiting their options. It's a win-win. And of course, Lilina has a destruction skill when she is on the field. She also buffs herself to 120 base power, basically confirming the hit. She is a good backup option when you have to use it. Hue is another card that also synergizes with Kanas. Actually, you can play both Hue and Kanas on turn after promotion because of Ephraim's deploy reduction skill. A normally 6 bomb play on turn 4? That's a nice value. There are a few other possible combinations that Ephraim has access to at 7 to 8 bonds as well. But now back to Hue. Hue is good at controlling field, reaching base 60 when he supports a tome, which can be done easily using Kanas' skill. Hue is good early game coverage as well, and provides an efficient 1-for-1 advantage if he defeats the cost 1. He's good pressure in the backline if the opposing MC has him promoted. Rai is only included for the extra Dark Emblems, and to occasionally hit 40 if you decide to deploy him. Kanas' first cost also has his ability, making them both good deploys early game if the opponent's hand is lower than 5. Lastly, we have the Flyers. Cormag is a good early game beat stick while also being a 30 support. More options to trigger your emblems, and to mill out cards to stack for later. And 2 Florinas for her movement skill. Movement options prevents you from being disrupted by push skills, and gives you the flexibility to save yourself or other units. And that's it for this build. There are plenty of ways to build Ephraim. He is a very flexible MC, and this build in specific focuses on Kanas. Other options for Ephraim to include are Nino, Loot, Tana, Gale, Niam, more Murs, Sophia, more cost 1 beaters, or Marissa, which is my personal favorite. Here's a variation of that for those interested. Though I won't go into it, it should be pretty self-explanatory. Thank you for watching. I'd like to give credit to the Fire Emblem Cipher wiki for these little description boxes that I've been using. Link will be in the description below. Make sure to check it out when you get the chance. If you'd like to know what we're up to, follow us on Twitter. If you like more sample deck lists such as this one, check out the Cipher Fair spreadsheet. I will also provide links to the deck list from this video in the description. And again, if you are interested in learning Fire Emblem Cipher, make sure to join the Fire Emblem Cipher Discord. See ya!